such a good rebounder?
You know, when I saw him play the day I went to evaluate him at Loyola with Gene Cross, he rebounded out of his area. That's the first thing that caught my eye. They were packing in a zone against him, and he was moving all over the. And he does that, and then he just has a great nose for the ball. Loose balls on the floor, he gets his hands on balls coming off the rim. I think he takes a lot of pride. The other thing, a great offensive rebounder never accepts a block out. And Jack, I can say that I don't know if I've ever seen Jack. The only time he accepts a block out is when he's thoroughly exhausted. There he is. We say, buddy. All right, now we're ready for Big East. Good to see you. Happy New Year, Jack.
Thank you.
He just doesn't accept a block out. And so it's I know he's a pain to play against in our practices because big guys think, God, that was a pretty good block out, and he spins off it. So I think that whole combination. And now he takes a lot of pride in the rebounding thing. He knows that's something he's really known for, and he's proud of it.
He kept coming back to the other day saying, well, a lot of it is luck, but a lot of it, it seems like he's just any ball he gets his hands on, he's getting. His hands are almost just like
great hands. You know, he really is an underrated athlete. You know, I know his gait when he runs is unusual, and people think he's this plodding, but he really is athletic. And athletic ability, great athletic ability, is great hands. I mean, if it's loose on the floor around him, and there could be 3 Big East I-95 guards, he's been snatching out of those piles forever. So, you know, he's good with the ball. Again, I think a lot of that is his high intelligence. He's a highly intelligent guy.
We're only 3 days into league play, and how often have you looked around at what games have been going on and said, it's going to come down to game situations?
It's going to come down, no question. I watched, boy, it was a buffet of Big East games last night, starting at 6 up until, 11:30, and a lot of it is, game situations. How are you defending late game? Can you get the ball inbounds against pressure? Can you make free throws? Can you execute to get a good look? And that's why we've got about 4 of them on the practice plan today.
And what have you learned? You talk about the team going into the season. What have you learned with the Big East? What do you know now that you know?
Yeah, I think I felt we could get better, and I think we have. I think individuals have gotten better. Eric Atkins, the rhythm that he has evolved into is just amazingly efficient, and I think Jaron has become more of a focus guy on a day-to-day basis. Pat Connaughton is become a total basketball player, a complete basketball player, driving it, guarding the best guy on the other team, making shots, rebounding. Scott is shooting the ball better than he's ever shot it. Jack's kind of being Jack, but in that starting nucleus, we had individual improvement, which I felt we could get, and I still think we can get more with this group. And then it's been probably a learning curve to get a feel for using Cam and Sherm off the bench, and they both have given us really good stuff off the bench. They've given us scoring. In Sherm's case, defensive positioning, and kind of a little bit of another veteran body. I think we've got a pretty good feel of who we are. I don't want to let up on improvement, even though the Big East season has started, but I think we have a good feel of our identity, given the fact that some individuals have improved and are doing some other things.
Now that you're in league play, I mean, do you look at someone like Jaron as, okay, it's ready, he's ready to really make a jump, because he seems like he's a bright lights guy,
yeah,
where this is what he's been waiting for.
I do think there's part of that with Jaron, and I was upset with him that last week because maybe he wasn't as engaged, but he has been a big game guy for us, and every game on this schedule is big now. We got 18 on the schedule, man. They're all big, but I think collectively, Tom, our group's, antenna has risen. They've been kind of waiting for this to play through this league schedule, a difficult league schedule with who we repeat. But I think collectively the attention to detail has just naturally gone up.
talk to them now? You know, you talk to them about focusing on this. Do you remind them, or do you not have to say anything about, you know, we're in the Big East, this is, the goal is to win it this year, or?
Yeah, I haven't really had to bring that up. You know, I think we talked about it, as I told you, last spring when we got back after the Xavier loss. We mentioned it in the summer a couple times, and I mentioned it in the preseason a little bit. But I think collectively this group, you know, one of the great strengths of this group is has ownership of itself. You know, a veteran team like this with, I think, really good leadership. The leadership needs to be even better. I met with our captains. I met with a bunch of guys yesterday. I met with our captains, met with Jared and Pat together. You know, just met with some guys to kind of set the tone of we need more now. And but I think that's something that they have digested and talked about as a goal. And I'm not going to really throw it up there a lot, but I think they know it starts here Saturday, and you can't look past Saturday. I mean, Saturday, you know, Saturday's a big one for us. They win the other night, they win last night, and they can shoot the heck out of the ball. And they got a low post guy. He may be the best offensive footwork low post guy in the league. Now that I've really been able to digest the league the last 3 days, that's Teague, that is, and then he's on the offensive board too. So that's a load that. We're going to have to deal with, yet they spread you with all those shooters too. So there's some dilemmas we're going to be put in.
Pat get Edwin on Saturday?
Pat gets Edwin, yep. Pat will get him, and you know, we'll match accordingly there. I know they're down some bodies, but I'm impressed with, boy, they can score that thing. They get going from the line, and then you got a wide body inside that can wheel and deal. You know, it's a little bit how we played with Herringody. You know, where, you know, you got the bull inside. If you play him with one guy, I don't care who it is, Jack, it's hard over 40 minutes. But then who do you come off of? Because they got them, every one of them's making shots. And so we're going to be put in some tough situations. We really got to, you know, drill some stuff the next 2 days on when we can help, who we can help off of, and when you're alone in the post on Teague.
I know you want to play a game this week, but given your trip to Chicago and then the scrimmage that you had earlier, do you feel good of where you're at going into league play?
Yeah, I think so. You know, one of the things with the layoffs that we had, now we didn't have as long a layoff, but we came out and played really well after layoffs. I think it was it Brown and Purdue? You know, after 1 week layoffs, we played pretty darn good. So I hope we can kind of take a page from that earlier in the year. We've practiced well. We're healthy. You know, Jack's fighting back from some flu. He didn't go to Chicago with us, but he seems to be getting closer to 100%. But I think we're just so excited to start league play. And then they've had to watch a bunch of league games this week, so we're all, you know, I woke up at like 5 in the morning. I mean, my brain is really kicked in now after watching all those games last night.
5 in the morning today.
This morning, yeah, 5. I'm, you know, thinking about practice and, you know, watching all those games and, you know, thinking about what we want to, you know, practice stuff, long term over the next 2 weeks, you know, all crazy stuff, all good crazy stuff, good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. See ya Saturday.